Okay, so today we will continue with our functions. Okay, so how my functions in my Python look like? I have a keyword def, def, and I'll write a function name. Okay, so yesterday we saw the simple function that is print value, right? Print value, and I was passing nothing to it, and I was just colon. Okay, so this is my function definition, and my function call looks like I need to write the exact function name with the parenthesis. Okay. So once the Python encounters this, it will pass control to this statement and it will start executing whatever inside of it, right? Then we saw another variation at passing values, right? I just pass two values to it. I said accepted the same. I need to accept two values as this function is passing two value. Okay. And in this case, I'm just printing both. And x comma y. Okay. Then we saw another variation that is my default values. Okay. I'm passing just one value, but I'm having two values here. If the second value is not passed, I'm setting it to default, right? Okay. So for you guys, there's one problem statement. Just try to function to reverse a string. Okay. Let's say if I pass for a function, let's pass my string Python. Okay. And it should return me the reverse of it. Okay. Within function, just print the reverse value for now. Guys, please try this. Right? Uh-huh. So whenever you have to write a function, in order to define that function, you will use this D. How do you do this? Just let's say my function name is strdv. I need to pass a string as Python. Okay. Now this is my function call, right? I need to write a function for this. Let's say this is my user-defined function. That's why I'll say div. Function name is strrev. Now this is passing me a one string, so I have to accept it. Let's say that string is s. Okay. I want to print this. Okay. So you have to just, in order to reverse a string, Let's run this. This is giving me the reviews of this thing, right? Now in this case, what you're doing, you are just printing the results inside of your function, right? Now my function will return a value, okay? Now the standard practice is you should try to avoid printing values into my functions, okay? The results, what is the main purpose of the function? It should return that particular value, okay? So how to do that, okay? So let's say I have to accept my reverse, okay? So I'll just say a variable called result, okay? So which means I'm giving a call to my string reverse function. I'm passing one string, say Python. Okay. What this function should do, this function should return me the reverse, so that in result I should have the reverse of the string. Let's say reverse is, and let's print my result. Okay. Now you have written your function call to accept the value, okay, but you do not have you haven't written anything to return the value. Okay. Now if you want to return something from your function, you will use your return statement, return, and in this case you just want to return reverse. So for that you will use your indexing and slicing. Okay, so you'll use -1, which will give you the reverse of the string.
Which type is going to return?
No, separate. We will never specify what kind of data I'm saying. I'll just do it. Okay. Now similarly, guys, let's try for our let's say this is my string again. Okay. I want to get vowel count and consonant count. Okay. So write a function for this. Okay. My function should return this 2 counts for me. Okay. So this is my sample string. I want a vowel count and a consonant count. Now one thing, you can have at a maximum only one return statement, okay, which will return one value. But in this case, if you want to return 2 values, you can make a tuple of it and you can return that tuple and you can accept that tuple. Please try this.
But there is one number of money there. वो भी check करेंगे कि numbers there है कि नहीं है. So इससे
अभी के लिए You can check that condition, but you will not return that. If you want to check the digits and all everything.
But I mean, because alphabet is very different.
Space के लिए तुम इस space में use कर सकते हो.
But
If I am not in, इधर तुम्हारा vowel रहेगा, इधर तुम्हारा consonant रहेगा, या फिर space रहेगा. तो हम check कर सकते हैं एक A I O वाला, second is हम check कर सकते हैं space, and third है but in case of space you won't have to implement a consonant.
हाँ, exactly. इसको ऐसे कर दो.
Is digit of
तो उसमें ये जो 2, 4, 6, 10, 14, 3, 10, 11,
space पर काम
नहीं 2, 4.
अच्छा ठीक है लेटर की
वेट टफल्स के कुछ एग्जांपल्स कराओ. उनका असाइनमेंट कुछ ही देना.
अच्छा टपल का भी असाइनमेंट.
हाँ, टफल्स पे कुछ प्रैक्टिस नहीं है.
Right guys, let's do this. Let's say this is my sample string S. Let me take a result again. Result is equal to, let's say, vowel and consonant count. Okay. I'm passing my string here. Okay. Now let's write the definition. So here my function name is VC count, and it takes one argument, right? Now let's intentionally I'm taking it into a different variable. Let's say E now. Okay. So I'll get a string in my E. So I need to iterate through this string. Okay. So for value in E. So in A, I'll get single characters from my A. So initially I'll get M, then Y, then this space, then this string, right? And then again characters, then again space, and this string, right? Now I'll just check if value in ER to U. Okay, so this is the condition, that is my vowel, right? So for that, let me take two variables, vowel count and consonant count is equal to 0 initially. Okay. Now if this is the condition, which means it is a vowel. Okay. In this case, I need to increment my vowel count. So I say vowel count plus equals to 1. Else, LF. The other condition is my value may be a space or maybe a digit. Okay. Now in order to check that, I'll just say value dot is okay, or value dot is digit. Now these both are functions. So this. If this is the case, I do not have to worry about it. I need to just continue. Alright. Otherwise, it's my consonant. So in this case, I need to increment my consonant count. I just say plus equals to 1. Okay. Now at the end of this, I need to return these two values. Return VC and CC. Okay. So which means I'm getting a tuple into my results. Okay. So now I'm just printing. Okay. So this is giving me my 3 and 4. Okay. Now if I want to access the both elements, I can do this. So it will give me the both of the count. Okay. So this is my vowel count and my consonant count. Okay. So in this case, even if I pass digits also, it will give the correct count. Okay. Now let's move to the next. That is keyword arguments. Okay. So till now what we have seen is, and again value, when I'm saying x comma y, just a second guys.
Save. Save. इसको ये भी तो ब्रांड इसको और ये कर रजिस्टर कर लीजिए।
हाँ एक्चुअली करना चाहिए।
नहीं मैंने ऑनलाइन की से कर लिया हो गया। हाँ।
Okay, so again I'm just printing my x and y. Okay. Let me give a call to my function, print value, get the same, yeah, and I was passing 10 from my function. Okay. In this case, what was happening? It was directly mapping my x to my thing and my y to 20, right? So this is my positional argument, right? So the another variation of this is, let's say I want to make sure this mapping does not matter. Okay, so I have a keyword argument system here. Okay, let's say my y is equals to 10, okay, and x is equals to 20. Okay, initially my x was 10 and y was 20. I'm just changing the values using my keyword. So you can see my values are swapped. Okay, so whatever value I'm saying x equal to 20, y is equal to 10, right? Now the important thing you need to notice is, in this case, your variable names matter. Okay. So whenever you're using, so this is called as your keyword arguments. Okay. So you're assigning a key to your parameters. Okay? Now your key should be same in your function arguments. Okay. So that's why here you have to use x and y. Whenever you are assigning values using, whenever you are passing values using keyword arguments, okay, the order will not matter, but the the names should be exactly same as your keys. Okay. So far we have seen my positional argument function, then default argument, right? Default value. Okay. Now we have seen keyword, right? Okay. Let's move on. Let's see something called packing and unpacking. Okay. Let's say you have a function which may take 4 values as a input, okay, 5, 6 values, okay. So for example, let's take, there's a sum function, okay. Now this, for this sum function I can pass 2 values, I can pass 3 values, okay, or else I can pass 4 values, right? And my function should work that way, okay. If I want to do this, let's work on it. Let's say I'm writing a function add, okay, and this time I'm passing 3 values to it, okay. Now let's take again result. Now write a function definition for that. Definition add, okay. So one way of doing is you will write your x, comma y, comma z, okay, and you will add this 3 number. But this function will be capable of only handling 3 values, right? It cannot handle if you pass more than 3 values. Okay? So in this case, let's see, I have an option. Okay. So let's see what happens when I pass something like that. Okay. For now, do not worry about result anything. Okay. For now, I'm just doing this. Let's see. Okay. It was 3 values. I'm here passing only 1 value. Okay. When I printed it, it's printing me a tuple, right? Now let's say 50, 60, 70. Okay. Now this time it added those values into my tuple, right? So using star operator, you can pack this thing into a single value. Okay. So this is my packing. Okay. So you're packing your multiple values into a single value. Okay. Now if you want to do addition of this, what you will do? So that will be a single program. You will just say, either you can say you are return sum function, which is inbuilt sum function, which will do the addition of whatever values are passed, right? That is the simplest way. We'll just say your result is equals to add. Now again, just printing the result. Let's say addition is, okay, colon, and okay, this is my print value, just comment this out. Okay, let me just print your list. Okay, so now this function will work even if I pass less values, even if I pass two values, right? Now let's take a reverse case. Okay, suppose you have a function, okay, let's say add, which takes compulsorily three values, okay, and this function just returns the same line and return some more, but I cannot iterate through it, right? Let's do just x plus y plus z. Okay, this is what it is doing. Now let me give a call to this function. Now whenever you're getting values, let's say you are getting values in your list. Okay, okay. If I just see add, right, I want to pass this three same values to this function. Okay, my function accepts three values. Okay, now the moment I pass just L, okay, it will say that this function takes three arguments, but you're passing only one. Oh, it's giving me the syntax error.
Colon.
Oh, okay. Okay, so add missing two required positional arguments y and z. Okay, so it checked. Okay, so there is a x, but y and z are not present. Okay, so similar thing I'll do. I'll just start. Okay, let me do my result again. Instead of doing this, just print.
Error view.
Okay, so I'm getting three values into my list, but my function accepts only three values, not a single value. So I want to unpack this list into three different values, okay, and I want to pass it to my function. Okay, in this case also again I'll use my star operator, okay, which will unpack my list into three different values. It will pass it to my function and it will work.
Only
End object is not returning. Okay,
someone have the
okay. What happened? Okay,
yes, star is like white color.
hmm. Now let's just take a small variation for this. Okay. Now let's say you have a dictionary. Okay. In your dictionary, you have the in dictionary. Obviously, I'll have my key value pairs, right? B, X20, and C equals to. Okay. I'm doing the same thing now. Instead of this for now, just comment this. Let me just print my x comma y comma z. Okay, and this return statement, this is the addition is printing. Now let me just add of. I want to pass this dictionary. Okay, my dictionary also contains three values. Okay, this, let's see what it
Keys.
Okay, so when I just do star in case of my dictionary, it is returning me the keys of it. Okay, now let's change a bit. Still,
Print X, Y, Z. But is
I'll tell you. So when I say a double star, it is giving me the values. Right now, this functionality this works exactly same as my keyword arguments. Okay, instead of star d, what you're passing, you are just saying you're creating a keyword argument saying a is equals to 10, comma b is equals to 20, comma c is equals to 30. Now, whenever I use my keywords argument, my order does not matter, but my keys should be the same, right? So I should have the same value. Okay. Hmm.
dictionary compounds the keys.
Hmm.
It will be both restricted or
Hmm. This is same exactly same as my key value pair. So instead of using this, you can directly use your keyword argument. That is also fine. Okay, but it's just a variation of your wildcard that is packing and packing. Okay, so this is packing and packing using my dictionary. Now let's try our linear search program using functions. Okay. So what I want, I'll pass my list, okay, of any number of values, right? I want to search for, let's say, like key is equals to 80 now. Okay. My function, so I'll pass this two values to my function. Okay. And my function will return two values, either index, it will return my index. Okay. And based on this index, you will see if the key is present or not. Okay. If in, let's say, if index -1, okay, set -1 if the element is not present, otherwise return the exact index. Okay, try this.
So we pass the list and the key.
Key. Yeah.
जो पैकिंग है कि एक साथ यूज नहीं कर सकते नहीं यहाँ पास से मैं रेसिपी करना है मेरे को कितना है कि कितना वैल्यू भेजना होता है स्टैटिक हो जाएगा यहाँ पे 9 वैल्यूज है यहाँ 7 वैल्यूज
और देखिए तो तुम यहाँ पर बस L1 भी पास किया आइडियली क्या है अगर तुम यहाँ L1 और L1 भी लोगे फिर जाती है because you're passing entire list your value of the list changes even if you're directly passing the list they're not good to
नहीं अगर मैं ऐसा करता हूँ कि जैसे L1 पास किया तो missing one requirement argument key ऐसा क्यों ये तो देना है
L1 key
ऐसा कर सकते हैं जैसे पहले मैं सारा इक्वल्स टू ऐसा
what I'm saying is instead of directly packing first L1 से भी काम let's say L1 यहाँ पे let's say L not star L
ओके
because see you're passing a list here right it might contain 10 values 100 values right now you're passing L here you are directly saying L accepting L in my packing and packing what I was doing in at one place I'm taking the list at other place I was using my variables right but if I'm using C I do not give my packing and right okay so I will do it tell me the code code okay DEF
linear
search okay
array
alright let's accept this L and key okay perfect this is my colon alright okay what is the function called let's say password right
yes we pass and list
alright
list and the key
alright let's see okay alright so let me define a list L is equals to 100, right let's see k is equals to 0.5 okay so this is my function call this will return me something right let's see what is it or you can directly use it in the print statement issue okay so I'm passing the entire list here I'm accepting entire list here okay so keep in mind if I'm doing the same thing so I'm passing the list and accepting the list I do not need my packing and unpacking okay I can do it without it okay so what my linear search says you have to iterate through this list you have to check if each element is equal to the key if yes return the index else return the minus one right so I need the index also okay so let's say for I need index and the value right let me use enumerate and L okay so I get my index and my values both, right? Now I'll do, I'll just check if my value equals my key. Okay, if this is the keys, return index, right? Check for the element. If that is equal to your key, then you will return index of it, right? Else, continue, right? Now one thing is either it will get the key here, right? Once it got to get the key, I'll just break it here. Okay? Let's say my element 75 is present at second last index, right? Once it found the key, I do not want to continue further. Okay, let's break it.
Return to line.
Yeah, this is correct actually. If I'm doing the return statement, my control flow will directly pass to this statement, right? So I do not need a break statement here. Okay. Alright, else we got colon. Okay. Now, if it does not return, which means my element is not present, right? So in this case, I'll just say return -1. Okay. So in this case, I'll just accept this value if result equals -1, which means element is not present. I'll just print present. Okay. Else, I'll just say print element present at index, and I'll get the index into my result variable, right? Here it is. Okay. So my index of my 75 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4. Now let's type for 100 0. Okay, let's type for something which is not present. Okay. Now this was my classic linear search problem, right? So that's why I used my loops and iterated through it. Okay. Now let's say you have a Python and you want to do this program. Okay. What will be the simplest way to do this? Just modify linear search. I'm just commenting it out. Right. So this is my function definition. All you need to do is you will check here. Find okay. Now find will return me -1 if the key is not present. Okay. And in this case, I'll just return the result. Okay. If this result is -1, the element is not present, else element is present. Okay. But in this case, if I want to get the index out of it, so let's do this. do not have a find function. What I'm missing one. Let's do null. Okay. Just give me a second. So I have an index. I'll search for value and I do not have a find function. Okay, that's fine. Why my index will also not work?
index of number value present, update value present. So we have 19
Okay, so 90th value. Alright. Okay. So if I just uncomment it, as it was index function, it will throw me an error if I give a result which is not present. So this is my list, this is my key of taking result. Okay. If result equals to -1, so index ideally it will not return me. Present charge. So in this case, this will work, but if the element is not present, it will throw you an error. Okay. I thought list is also used my find. Right. Let's see the last concept, okay, of modules. Okay. We will take the same function and the same logic. Okay. What I'm doing, give me 2 seconds. I'll just copy this. So this was this. And okay. I don't know this. Okay. So what I've done is I have kept this linear search completely different. Okay. So let's just save it first. Hmm. Let's say this as ls. Okay. So in my Python, my each Python file is a module. Okay. So whatever you're writing code, so your function 3, your ls.py is a module. Okay. Now you can call the function which you have written into a different file. Okay. How we can do this? Okay. So this is my linear s function. Okay. And this is the entire implementation of it, which is working. Okay. Now let me create another file. Let's say call it a test. Do we have anything with name? Test.py. Alright. So how to do this? Okay. First thing, you have to tell Python that I want to implement a functionality linear s which is present into my ls.py. Okay. So for that you will say import ls. Okay. Now you have a function which takes a linear s. This is a function name, and it takes two values, right? Now let me just copy this. This is my function name. Again, same. Let me pass a list of 3625. Okay, and my is equal to 60. Okay, so this is L. This is 60. And now give me a second. What I am doing. Okay, I'm just copying this Python from here. I'm pasting it here. Okay, so this is my result. This will give me call to my linear search function. Key is result and now this is my test.py, right? I saved it. Main thing, if I need to use a function from another module, I will say the module name ls dot and the function, right? So I defined a new list. I defined the key. I'm calling the function which is another module. So I'm saying ls dot linear s, and I'm passing these two values, expecting this will give a call to this function in my ls dot py, and it will calculate the result. Okay, in a similar way. Okay, so it's say element not present. Okay, let's try for 63. Oh,
We have 60 there. L, comma 60 keyboard.
okay. So this is working. Now let me do this. Okay, let's have a look here. Print. Okay. So what I'm doing, this is my function. Okay, that's fine. Now right, I have written a print statement outside of my function. Okay, outside of a function, I have just written a simple print statement. Okay? I'm going to my test.py. Now let's see the output. Okay. If you see here, this line was printed. This is my code from ls.py. Okay. Now how it works, whenever you import anything, okay, Python will first execute all the statements which are in global scope for that file. Okay. As this is in a global scope for this, it just started printing. Okay. So even if I write this logic, okay. Now in this case, let's see, and this is my 75 key for my first and 63 is for my second, right? Happen result not found. Where is my function call? Result equals to okay. This is here. This is running. Okay. I go to my test.py. I save it. Run it. Now you can see this is my code from ls.py. Then it executed 75 element present at index 4, which is also from my ls.py. And then it came to the executing this thing, which is from my test.py. Okay, which is something I will not want. Okay, I do not want this to be executed when I'm importing. Okay, so if so my logic will be, if I run this particular single program, this program should work. If I give a call to that function, only that particular function should run, not all the statements. Okay. Now this can be done using the logic that Python provide you functionality which will let you know if this particular Python program is executed as a main Python program or it is used as an imported Python program. Okay, so how you will do it? So you will write if. So this is your name. Okay, so this name is your name of your module. Okay, so this is your inbuilt thing which will tell you if your name is equal to main. Okay, which means if this particular Python program is executed as a main program, that means a standalone program, not through import. Okay, in that case, call the main function. Okay, now where's your main function? Is it present? No, right? In this case, what you will do, whatever you want to be get executed whenever it's a main program, we'll just say that main colon, okay, and whatever was inside of it, we'll just write in the main program. Okay. Now I run it here, it is running. Okay, fine. Now if I go here, receive it, run it. Okay. So in this case, what you're doing, so you are executing your test.py. Okay, you want to execute your Genius search in my test.py. For that, you imported a module. Okay, so you said import ls. Why? Because my function was present into my ls. Clear so far? Okay. Now my Python, what basically does, whenever it sees an import statement, it first executes whatever the present in the main global scope of that particular module. Okay. So let's assume if you do not have this main function, it will start executing all these statements which are in global scope, right? But what you want is, you want the only function to get executed, which you want. Okay. So whatever be the function you want to execute, only that should get executed. Rest of the part should not get executed, right? So in that case, I can check if this particular program is executed as a standalone program or not. Okay, how I will check this? Using this name function. Okay, if this is executed as a standalone program, Python will set this name field to the main. That is the module name for this. Okay, and then it will give a call to main function, which will execute now. Okay. So these are like your variables which Python is saving default. Okay. Print underscore name. Okay. So this is the environment variable which Python is setting. Okay. if this particular program is executed as a standalone program, it will set its underscore name underscore to the main, which you can see. Okay. The same thing will be in test.py. My underscore name equal to main will be for my test.py, not for my ls.py. Right? So if this is standalone program, then only execute this part. Okay? Else do not go into this. So in this case, you will execute your function only.
So I cannot call that
that part. No. So this
this
function this part you cannot execute. So now once you do this, you cannot get this print statement inside your test. Okay.
If I want that, I have to bring it out of the main.
Out of this. So today we have covered our functions and my modules. Okay. So in my functions, we have seen variations like my positional arguments, then my default arguments, then my keyword arguments, then my packing unpacking, okay. Then packing unpacking using dictionary also. Okay. So these are all my different variations for my function, right? And then lastly we cover module. So in module, using module, you can execute some of the functions which are present in other module, and you can import those functions and you can execute in another Python file. Okay. Okay, guys, we will stop here for today. Okay. I'll send these files and assignments for sure. Okay. Rajni Rashmiyesh, you have any questions?
No, all good till now.
Okay, perfect. So we will stop here today. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay.
I do 40 minutes of cardio.